In this next spotlight, we'll be talking more about AI, but through the lens of Gojob, and really one of the leading companies implementing Make plus AI, and I'm super interested to learn what Thibaut has to say on this topic. And so with that, I would like to welcome Thibaut Watrigant. My French accent, I do not have one, but Thibaut, please come out to the stage and let's have a chat and learn what you're doing. All right, great, thank you. All right, so just to set a little bit of context for people, I know Fabian actually shared an image of Gojob this morning and mentioned all the great work you're doing with Make and AI. But can you just set the context of what does Gojob do?
Yes. So the context is quite simple. Our name is Gojob, and so our mission is as simple as that, is to provide everyone a decent job. And we have been using Make from one automation to 80 billion operations. And today I'm going to share a bit how we went throughout this story.
Yeah, and so, yeah, say more about that. Like, how did you get started with Make, and kind of how has it changed over time?
We had actually 3 steps with Make. The first one, we started in 2020 during the COVID phase. And the first step of our love story, I like to talk about that, it was about automation. So at that time, neither Make nor the no-code was legitimate within the whole company. So we are a scale-up, 200 people, 100 million revenues every year. So we needed to convince the value of no-code and the value of Make. And our first use case with Make was during COVID, you needed to have a formal paper, a formal document to say from your employer to say that you are authorized to go out. And so it was a pain in the ass to build for devs, and it was a one-time things to build, and so we did it with Make. So this was our first use case during that part. And why we choose Make at that time, it was because in an automation point of view, the return on investment was between 5 and 10 times more interesting because it was really quicker to put something in prod.
Yeah, and so when you talk about that investment, or sort of you had that first automation, but how did you know kind of, I'll say, what to automate next, or how did you figure that out?
At that time, we automated using a simple calculation of return on investment. So basically, every manual and repetitive task, we automated it. We also got some traditional developers in the company. And so basically, at the beginning, no code was what developers hadn't the time to do. But then, the phase 2, it was about innovation. So we are French-based. We wanted to go abroad, so to test our value proposition in UK or in the US. And so at that time, what we built was a platform for the recruiters, the same that we have in France, which is code-based. We replicated for the UK, and we hired someone to operate, and we replicated it for the US in 2 weeks. And then we learned, and the learning was that in the UK, we didn't feel the market traction, so we closed the UK, and we doubled down in the US. And that's during this second step where we realized that we could use no-code to innovate quickly. I like to call that the innovation of intuition. If you have a product manager, it's the opposite of what you learn. Start from a problem and find a solution. At Gojob with Make, we do the opposite. So we think of solutions, solving potential problems, and then we quickly developed it in less than 1 week.
That's amazing. And so you call that the innovate your intuition. Is that what you call it?
Yes, yes.
I love that phrase. And so that really speaks to kind of, this ability to be agile and flexible and not invest sort of all these resources into building a solution that you might not be sure is actually going to work out. And I already hinted at the fact that you at Gojob, you're using AI a lot in combination with your automations or your business innovation. Can you share more about the role AI is playing and how you scale?
Yes, so the first step was automation, the second was innovation, and then came AI. So before AI, with no code, we could automate every manual and repetitive task in the company. But it needed to be simple tasks. With AI, we were able to address our core pain points. So if you were early this morning listening to me, you know already about that. When I'm a recruiter, I need to phone 50 people to put one person on the job. Why? Because when you phone, the person is not available anymore, is not okay to work in this specific location. And so we are talking about automatizing human interactions with variability and with very complex ways, inputs, outputs. And so what we did regarding AI is we built an AI assistant that interacts with those 50 people, 50 candidates, to validate all the prerequisites for the job offers. And then we present to the top 2 candidates to the recruiters at the end. And the result is that the recruiters only need to phone 2 candidates to put one in this job. And AI changes with this use case a lot of things for us, because for the first time we were ready to tackle core business processes with no code. Before that, it was side business for us, but it helped us really enter in the game. And how we came up with this idea, it was when we say, okay, if 2 people in a garage say, I want to build Gojob fully automated, what will they do with Make and ChatGPT? And obviously, they will do what we did, this AI assistant.
That's fascinating. So I'm just trying to think about it from the candidate's perspective. When the candidate receives, I'll say this, AI phone call, do they know they're talking with a robot?
Yes, they do. So actually, it's with text messages, so they receive SMS. Our core value with AI is transparency. So in the first message, we say that we are an AI, but our assistant is so powerful that they forgot after that they are discussing with an AI. So we have to remind the candidates that they are whenever we don't have the information. The key thing here is we are speaking with real people looking for a job, looking for money, and so they are speaking with an AI. So every day we ask, what do we want to build with AI, and what shouldn't we build with AI, because this is too far from what we want, from where we want to go. An example from that, during our first release, so the candidates were texting with our AI assistant, and we got one person that told us, I cannot go on the job because somebody in my family died. And so to this specific point, we don't want an AI sharing human feelings. And so we needed to adjust the automation, our AI assistant, to know when it should answer and when it shouldn't. And this is really key because this applies in all automations. When an automation is not working and you should hand over to a human, we do not consider at Gojob this as a bug. We consider that we need the human behind the process that we are automatizing, and that this human is key. And so now what we do is that the AI assistant hand over to the real recruiters to share the condolences in this specific case.
I think that's super powerful, what you just shared in that story. I mean, it's something that, actually, I haven't heard this word come up today, but ethics and morals, right? So AI, when we think about all the possibilities of it, we need to use it in kind of this human way, right? And so it makes me wonder, even kind of within Gojob, were there any concerns from the recruiters that AI might replace them, or did they have any fears about that?
They had, and they still have, to be honest. But how we do that, one of our core AI value is to impersonate the AI assistant. So we could have created a black box, an AI assistant speaking in the name of Gojob. But we wanted to have behind each AI talking to a candidate a real human, the recruiters. So this is why if my name is Jenna and I'm recruiting for Gojob, then I got my own AI assistant talking to candidates in my name. So that if everything goes wrong, we got a human responsible. This helped a lot, saying we are not replacing recruiters, we are helping automate a manual and repetitive task, like we were doing since 2020. The only thing that's changing is that now with AI, the tasks are more complex, and so they are more core business, so they are more core in the operations of the recruiters. And so, yes, we still have a lot of work, but if you place your automations at the service of the human, it's better.
I really like the way you framed that. And I have many more follow-up questions, but we only have time for one more. And so I think what would be important for the audience to understand is, I'll say you guys are making it seem easy. And so what I mean by that is, do you have any advice, maybe one or two sort of pieces of wisdom you might give to any small business that wants to start automating with AI or start using more no-code tools? Like, it's really been a key to your success, and what advice would you share to others who want to be able to replicate that?
The advice, so if you are a small startup launching in no-code or in AI, my advice would be to start small and to give legitimacy to no-code with a return on investment, but do not stay out of your core business. AI is changing all the businesses. If you don't tackle your core business, you will have some competitors doing greater things. So my advice would be to have the same meeting as the one I got. So to go in a garage and to say, if two people wanted to automate my whole business, what will they do? And then to focus on this use case, first advice. And the second is, don't be afraid to push the button of putting your automation in prod, even if it's sensitive.
It's awesome. Just do it. I like it. Thank you. Thank you, Thibaut. I think now that you've been introduced to what Gojob does and the way they think and the values they have, I'm sure you'll be having lots of great conversations in the follow-up and networking sessions. So thank you again for joining me.